Your spouse is, the person you marry is a limb of your body. You're the same person. And if you can look at that person like that, and you're prepared to give sustenance and health and food and energy to that other person, naturally they will give it back to you. And I think that's probably, in my opinion, the greatest failure. We talk about trust, we talk about love. These are all side effects of the exact same thing. Yes, you've got to love your spouse. But again, if you're...
Hello, Rabbi, how are you doing?
Baruch Hashem, Yair, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's really an honor to have you here on the show today. I appreciate your time. I know you're really busy. You're head of a lot of different communities, also in the corporate world, also, you know, communities in the Chabad, South Africa. So I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Always an honor and a privilege.
For sure. So I want to dive, right into the subject today, because this subject is something that I hear about so much from my friends, from the media, all over. And that's relationships that fail. And so many people go into relationships, which most of the people, but the divorce rate is crazy. And forget about divorce. There are some people that are married, so they're not divorced, but their relationship is a disaster. So okay, they're still married, but I'm not sure that part is good. So I would love to hear from you, what's the reason that so many relationships fail today? What happened?
So it's an interesting one. So I think also what you need to just put into perspective for today is, in the more modern times, in our older times, you take a look at our grandparents, for example, and we share grandparents. But if you look at the grandparents, or your great-grandparents, but if you think about the history of the past, people always, it was an absolute taboo and a no-no to get divorced. So naturally, I think divorce rates would always be higher now than they were in the past, because people were scared to not be part of a community if they got divorced. So, I mean, from a Torah point of view, if you're in an unhappy relationship and it cannot be solved, and you cannot live together anymore, it's almost a mitzvah to get divorced. It actually is one of the mitzvot, funny enough. It's not a mitzvah we want everyone to keep, but there is a mitzvah to get divorced. So we're told it's the only mitzvah that if you do keep the mitzvah of divorce, of a get, it's at one time that Hashem cries. HaKadosh Baruch Hu cries for you doing that mitzvah. But there is a concept that if there's no shalom bayit and it is not possible to fix, you should get divorced. In the olden days, people were scared from a community point of view. Do I fit in? Do I not? What are people going to think? What are people going to say? And therefore, they forced through those marriages. As you mentioned before, people live in marriages totally unhappy. And it's an interesting topic. I spent a lot of time. I've been a Chabad rabbi in Johannesburg for close to 25 years. I spent a lot of time in the corporate world, doing a lot of community engagements, involved in some very big corporates in South Africa for many years. So I spent a lot of time and that's very much in the non-Jewish world. And I spent a lot of time in involvement and community engagement with people all the time. And what's interesting about a marriage, unlike a corporate relationship, and I think we very much talk about divorce and marriage mainly now, is that I think people look at marriage differently. We live in a modern society where people live their entire life saying, what can I get? What is in it for me? What are the pleasures that suit me? How much does it help me? And what we forget, we don't realize when we get married, is what is marriage according from a Torah point of view? It's called kiddushin, lekadesh. It's a holy concept. It's not about two people getting together. Truth be told, a man and woman can be physically together and have sex. It's got nothing to do with marriage. You can live in relationships, which isn't a marriage concept, but a marriage is a commitment, which is not just about I'm committing to you and you committing to me. It's called kiddushin. It is called a holy concept of two souls coming together at one. And you need to understand, before a person is born in the heavenly worlds, when your neshama is still in the heavenly worlds, your soul is made up of two segments, a male and a female soul. When you come in the world, it separates into a male and female body. A marriage is that same neshama, that same soul coming together as a single person. So your person you marry is a soulmate. It is your actual self. Now, the truth is, the problem with nowadays and in relationships in general, we forget that my husband or my wife is actually me. And we try to work out, what can I get? What is in it for me? Well, am I enjoying it? Am I happy? Am I inspired? Are you helping me? And I always look, if you look at a body as whole, so I spend a lot of time doing exercise and I try to, at least. I'm not as good as I wish I could be, but I've done a half Ironman. I do marathons, I run, I cycle, I swim, I do boxing twice a week. I try to do a bunch of different exercises. What's unique about exercise, and I believe your physical body represents everything about you in life, is that if you think about it, your brain is where your whole world takes place. But your brain doesn't say, if I look after myself only, I'll be fine. If you put your hand near a fire, your brain warns you it's hot, it makes you pull it away. If you feel you got an injury while you're running in your leg, your brain warns you, slow down. Because your brain understands in the relationship of your entire being, everything has to be healthy. Everything has to be doing well. Everything has to work. And we often don't see a marriage like we don't see our husband or our wife as somebody who's part of us. And we see it as it's you and it's me. And if I'm not getting enough from you that I want, we walk away. It's not good. It's not working for me. If you live your life understanding that when you get your spouse, the person you choose to live with, is not just another person, not another relationship like is in business or in the corporate world or somebody you meet in the corner. This is you. It's your same soul. And if we live our lives understanding, what can I give to the other person? How can I make the next limb of my body? It's part of your body. Your spouse, the person you marry is not another person anymore. It's you. It's kadosh, it's holy. Your soul's coming together as one. If you live your life understanding, if I'm bettering the other person, I will automatically be better. If that other person's healthy and happy, I will be healthy and happy. There's a whole different headspace in your marriage. And we live in a world where it's not that. We do fast foods, walk into a restaurant, I need food right now. Go to petrol, if you want to get petrol, gas, need it right now. If the modern generation wants to make millions of dollars right now, and we forget the concept of that if I can help somebody and my spouse, I'm not helping them and I'll make me feel good, I'm helping me. Your spouse is, the person you marry is a limb of your body. You're the same person. And if you can look at that person like that and you're prepared to give sustenance and health and food and energy to that other person, naturally they will give it back to you. And I think that's probably, in my opinion, the greatest failure. We talk about trust, we talk about love. These are all side effects of the exact same thing. Yes, you've got to love your spouse. But again, if your spouse is in a healthy, good place and you realize it's part of your body, you will love it. I love my arms, I love my legs, I love my head, I love every limb of my entire body. Why? Because it's part of me. And I think we've often missed that concept in the relationship, that the person who we live with, the person who we commit our lives to, aren't another person anymore. They are you. And if you see them that way, you'll fight harder, you'll care more, you'll drive it to the nth degree. Yes, it can fail. And yes, there's a mitzvah to get divorced if it does fail. But do we really drive that journey? Do we spend our time on the highway trying to make sure that it is a success? And I really believe that at the core, at the neshama of most of the failures is because you walk in saying, what is me in it for me? What is mine? How do I make me happy? How do I make me full? How to make me want to shine? And you have to be happy, and you have to be full, and you have to have energy your entire life. But if the focus is only on you, you'll never find happiness with something else, because it's only ever you. You might as well marry the mirror.
Wow, Rabbi, I really appreciate it. You gave so many golden nuggets over here. And what I love about what you said is a lot, but what you talk about is really for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're, people on this channel are Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, I don't care, not religious at all, atheist. But that understanding that when you go and think only about yourself, things probably won't work out. But the funny thing, well, I don't know funny, but the hilarious part is that if you are there for your spouse, so then you'll be the one benefiting it from this whole story. So I think that's amazing, like, to see it in a way that, okay, I'm here for us, for both of us, but then I'll be the one benefiting when I'm benefiting from that.
Benefit more, and you're right. Sorry for interrupting. You're dead right. Sure. You benefit more than your spouse, funny enough, because when you take the Hebrew word forgive, it's natan. No matter which way you read the word natan, it reads the exact same way. Nun taf nun, forward and backwards. Because when you give, you get back as much. Because that is the truth. The world of giving is exactly that. Is that you don't give only to change their life. and you shouldn't give to change yours, but the natural response of any form of giving is exactly that. I spend a lot of time in sales. So my position in the corporate world was always sales. We started one of the bigger fiber companies in South Africa, or at least in the main province that I live in, which went national thereafter. And it's interesting enough, I always said, like, I'm a rabbi, so I sell religion every day. If I can sell religion, I can sell anything, I believe. So I spend most of my business career is business development and sales. And how do you sell something? You don't sell your product to somebody else. You show what value it has to that person. When you give that person value and you show them that their lives will be better, their lives will grow, their lives will be improved, they'll want the product you're giving them. It's never about selling your product. It's about improving and changing somebody's life. And in the pure commercial business world, if I sell something, I'll make the profit I want, and I've changed their lives. If it's that basic in the business world, how much more so in your marriage? How much more so in your relationship? It's not a sale anymore. It's about how can I really better your life? And sales is a product that people buy products that change their lives, that they make them happier, make them better, make them improved. A relationship, if you can improve the person you love the most, imagine how much improvement you get to your life.
Well, I have a question on that, because all what you're saying over here, we need to have work put into all this relationship story, because you're talking about giving value, you're talking about putting effort into the relationship, and it's someone that stands in the head of the community. I'm sure you hear many relationship stories, and like you said, they all require work from one hand, but from the other hand, we live in a generation that doesn't want to work too much. Like you said, everything needs to be right here, right now. Everything needs to be fast, and fast solutions. So what do you advise to people in your community, whether it's a community that you're ahead of or in business? Like what should they do in order to start the work and not give up after a few things don't work? Because whatever you said is beautiful, but it's try and error. So what do you advise people to do in a generation that work is not really a word that we want to use too much?
So it's the truth is I do. I spend a lot of time talking to different people, and you talk about in this month alone, I'm officiating in 6 different marriages. So I spend a lot of time with people getting married. So there's a lot of smachot. Yeah, I do some divorces as well. As a rule of the divorce as a rabbi, by the end of the divorce, both the husband and the wife hate the rabbi. That's the rule. No matter what, obviously I'm doing that wrong, because at the end, I always say in a divorce, I'm there to help the children, not the husband and wife. That's my job. So they both dislike me at the end, at least often. But the truth be told, is an interesting one. So I always tell people when it comes down to these type of relationships is there's 2 type of ways of living your life. You do need instant gratification. Sometimes you just need the quick, the easy, and the fun. But there's nothing in life that doesn't take effort. And more important, there's nothing in life that doesn't take pain and hardship. If you think about the physical makeup of the world, when you walk forward, you push down on the ground to go forward. If you want to throw a ball, you pull your hand backwards and throw the ball forward. When a rocket or an airplane takes off, it gives a backwards thrust to go forward. The whole world is based on a backwards thrust, a challenge, a hardship. Nothing will ever go forward without some type of digging deep inside of yourself, or having a challenge or hard along the way. You'll enjoy nothing in life that's given to you. Nothing. You will have instant gratification. You'll have a quick fix. You won't enjoy it. It won't change your life. The world is based, and the physical world is based on Yeridat Tzarich Aliyah. You need to go backwards, down to go up. You need a back movement to move forward. And the truth is, in business, it's the same. You speak to any successful business. I spoke about it recently to a crowd. You look at Apple, you look at any big, but you look at Netflix, White Pages, Tesla, every one of them start off as nice big businesses. That every one of them, the CEOs either got fired or they went through the most terrible recessions. There's no real billion-dollar business around today that went like this the whole time. Just had up, up, up. They went as the business owners, they personally went through the worst times. Winston Churchill in school was told in school as a child that he was a semi-retarded child. They told him that he couldn't read, he was dyslexic. You look at his history, he had the most terrible personal history in education, in capability. Winston Churchill was the leader of the Western world that attacked Hitler. He stood up against everyone in the entire English Parliament when they said no. He said, out of morals, we've got to do what we need to do. One of the greatest leaders ever to live. Steve Jobs got fired from Apple. He came back a decade later and turned into what we have Apple today. Elon Musk, who's originally from South Africa, started Tesla. 5 years ago, his country was literally shutting down. But every one of them understood the challenge was the perfect opportunity for growth, the perfect opportunity to create the best. And I always tell the young people, is when you get married, you're going to have a honeymoon, it's going to be great. Physically, emotionally, it's going to be the best. But the ultimate moments that define your marriage are the challenges, because that one defines whether you really are. And you can either run away and say, what's my next quick fix? Or you can say, you know what? I'm greater than that. I can beat that. I can become a better, bigger person and a happier person because I faced the challenge. And if you live your whole life on instant gratification, nothing will work. Not your business, not your relationship, not in business relations, not your business itself, not your money making. Instant gratification in any realm of the entire world as a consistent the whole time, you will always fail. But if you're prepared to face the challenge and go for it a bit, and what my kids always tease me, I always say, you got to dig deep. That way, you find, where do you find gold, diamonds, minerals? They're all underground. Nothing's on the top. I come from Africa, all the minerals. You got to dig to find the greatest gems. And a relationship is no different.
Wow, Rabbi, that's it's mind-boggling. It's like, it's a total change in the mindset that now, like, after you're saying this, so someone listening and is going through a challenge in his relationship or her relationship, okay, now this challenge is opportunity for growth. Like you said, all the beauty is only after you dig deep inside. So when someone comes with that type of mindset, they could turn that challenge into I did a video before, like how you turn a challenge into a chance for growth and happiness in a stronger relationship. But there has to be someone over here on the video watching now and saying, Rabbi, that's really nice what you're saying. I love it. The ideas are pretty cool. But I want to do the work. I really want to do the work. I really want to do the digging inside. But my partner, my wife, my husband, they don't want to do it. What do you tell someone in that situation? I promise you, there's someone right now listening and saying,
first of all, in every relationship when it falls apart, and every relationship, they always tell me that the guy says, I'm doing my best, she's not interested. She always says, I'm doing my best, he's not interested. It's not someone, I'm going to tell you, it is everyone. So first of all, the truth is, you do need to be able to see each other's perspectives. So, and generally when you're emotional and you're fighting, and it's hard for you, you're always focused on yourself. So I know when I'm running a race, when I get into what we call the red zone, and you're in total pain and you want to continue, you don't even notice anyone's around you. You just fight yourself. So when you're in a relationship, in that fight, it's very hard to see the other party because you're so busy fighting and you're almost like stuck in it. You're caught in the fight. But it's an interesting concept generally in life. And you see it very much in the oceans. I spend a lot of time scuba diving, and I love the water. I'm not a great swimmer, but I can scuba dive, wakeboard, slalom ski. I love the water. I'm not a great swimmer though. But when you're swimming in the ocean and the current takes you, the waves take you out, the only way you drown is if you swim against the current. If you fight, you will always drown 100%. If you let the current take you out, it'll always bring you back onto the beach. You might be further down. It won't bring you back to where you started. It'll always take you out. And I always tell all people in relation, when they're in the fight, take a step back. Just pull you, because when you're in it, you can only ever see yourself, and that's human nature. Stop, try to take a step back and try to understand the other person. If you don't have two willing parties, two people, a husband and wife, that are both willing to fight for it, well, then it is a lost battle. And that's why there's still a mitzvah to get divorced sometimes. But very seldom do you have a situation where you don't have two willing parties. What happens, you both get so caught in the emotion, you get so caught in the fight, you get so caught in where you're at, is that you never see the other person. You're so caught in yourself, it's very difficult to find the other person. And sometimes you got to let the fight take you, but let the wave, let the current take you out. You'll land up somewhere else on the beach. You're not going to land up where you started. And you're still going to have to walk back to the same place, and there's still a journey involved. But when you're in the heat of the action, you're in the heat of the fight, I always say, like, just pull back, breathe. There's a funny headspace. You go to any psychologist when you're having anxiety, they will say, stand up and breathe. But what breathing is going to change my life? Breathing does nothing but breathe. The first thing I did in the world was I was breathing. And then I cried. When you're born and you come out of your mother, you breathe. Breathing, you don't have to be taught how to breathe, but why do you tell people to breathe? Because we're made up of two sections in our lives. We've got our heart, which is our emotions. We have our intellect, which is where our brain lives. When you breathe, when you live, your heart pumps blood. Your blood represents your entire physical, emotional world. If I cut the blood off to my finger dies. Wherever you don't have blood flow, that body limb dies. So that blood creates your life, your physical enjoyment of the world. But the blood gets pumped through your brain to the entire body. And I can choose when the blood hits my brain, how am I going to do? Am I going to make it a positive energy or a negative one? I'm going to get caught inside of myself. Am I going to look for space for somebody else? And always, why does that psychologist say stand up and breathe? Because when you stand up and breathe, you stop getting caught in the emotion and you start trying to get a wider perspective. And I tell it to a lot of people, like, stop and breathe, not because the breathing changes you, but because you think about yourself. I'm going to take the blood and the blood goes to every part of your whole body. I'm going to put my head on top of my heart. I live in Africa. We have every wild animal in the world. Lions, elephants. What's it between a human and an animal? I love animals. I go to the see the wildergeest consistently through the year. It's my happiest place in the world. What's the difference between a human being and an animal? An animal's head and heart is always on the same level. You can't teach a lion, say, I've got high cholesterol, you go eat vegetables today. He'll always eat meat. You can train a cat to walk on two legs carrying coffee. You can train him. But when he sees a mouse, he's going to drop it all and run. He can never change his instinct. A human being we made upright. Our head is above our heart. We don't have to follow our emotions. We've got the capability to take control of who we are. We're an incredible species. We've got the most amazing capabilities. But too often we become animals. This is what I feel like. This is what I want. And we forget that we can breathe and let our heads control our hearts. But to answer the question, if there aren't two willing parties, it's a big battle. But we often think there isn't a second willing party because we're caught in our own. And that's a time to almost take a back step, go see a mediator, get a third party to look involved, and not your friends, because your friends will always back you. Find a person. It could be a professional, it could be a rabbi, it could be a friend who's not close friends, a third party, because what they do is they take the emotion out and they try to create the intellect only. When you think often when you're so far apart, you're actually not that far apart because you're so emotionally involved. You forget you've got a human brilliance that can think and can dream and can reach. But if there's no thing, if there isn't a willing party on the other side, unfortunately, it's much more difficult. But we often think there isn't one, and there usually is, to be true.
For sure, 100%. And I think, like you said, that there are cases that, you know, people must end the relationship, the marriage, and get divorced. But like you just now said, usually, like both, you know, and both sides, they don't have to be on each side. It could be the same side. Just have someone from the outside, you know, take that breath for them. Because sometimes, you know, you told someone to take a breath, and he's like, go, or she's going crazy, and they're like, just leave me alone. But when that third party comes, they could do it for them, and then they're like, oh, maybe it's not that bad, and maybe, you know, now I understand her, now I understand him. So that's so important. And also later on, you know, we'll leave also the links if people want to reach you. But we were talking over here about, you know, problems that, you know, why relationships don't work and why most relationships fail. And when I say fail, not necessarily divorce, but maybe you're married and your relationship still fails. Now also, you know, I would love to hear from you. Like I said, I mentioned you're a head of a community and you're always in the relationship world. People come to you. Can you give us some advice, like how to make things work?
So interesting enough, I think naturally they do work. I think we complicate things too often and we try to find too much complication in everything. I've realized as a human being, I know what I'm good at, I know what I'm capable of, and I know there's a lot of things I can never control. I can make a function, I can't control if it's going to rain or not. So I'm happy to understand my limitations in life and what I'm capable of doing. And we too often try to control too many things out there. We're too controlling of everything. And because we spend our lives controlling so much, it creates the most terrible anxieties. It creates the most terrible personal challenge. And when you have anxiety, when you have a personal challenge, where's the best place to go take it off on? The person you love the most. You can't take it out on your boss. You'll get fired. You can't take it out on your colleague because you won't have a friend anymore. You'd naturally believe that no matter what happens, my husband, my wife, my relationship, the person I live with, will accept my rubbish, will accept the things I come up with. And we too frequently allow the anxieties that we can't control, and we take it on the people we love. So I always say step one is just from a personal point of view, accept what you can and can't do. Don't try to become God. Don't try to work out control things that are out of your control. Find your inner sanctuary, your inner happiness. And what inner happiness doesn't mean what I have. Inner happiness is understanding that I've got a purpose in life. When I make mistakes, we all make mistakes. The good and the bad define who I am. Find an inner happiness. Now, also, when you wake up in the morning, when you smell the worst, you look the worst, it's the worst, you're still in bed. We say a prayer, thank you, Hashem, for giving me my soul, my neshama. At least wake up and have a shower. Why is it at the worst? Because the truth is, Hashem, God accepts us for who we are. God just accepts you when you smell and what you look like. And more importantly, you wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I've got a purpose. I've been chosen to wake up in the morning. If you can find self-purpose, there's a lot less to fight about with your spouse. We tend to deflect on the people we love the most when we are personally unhappy. And then we blame them for our unhappiness. I always say step one in anything in life is find your inner self. And understand you don't have to be brilliant. And don't be scared of your failures and your mistakes. We all make them. I mean, I know we're running out of time, but if you take, for example, in this week's, it's actually funny, in the Torah portion of this week, we have the story of the idea of Moses on the mountain, Moshe Rabbeinu, when he breaks the 10 commandments. The worst mistake the Jewish nation made. I'm a rabbi, I've got to talk about the Jewish nation. The Jewish nation mistake. What did we do with the broken pieces? We took the broken pieces of the Luchot, of the 10 commandments, and we put them with the fixed 10 commandments in the Holy of Holies, in the Ark, in the Bet HaMikdash, in the temple. The holiest place in the whole Jewish world. We take our greatest moments and our worst. I don't know about you, but if I want a blessing from God, I'm not going to tell him, show me my mistakes. I'm showing what I did right. Why do we put it together? Because the things we do wrong, the things that bring us down, and the things we do best together define us. That's what makes us who we are. So step one is find inner, and you're not going to find inner happiness from your wife necessarily. You're going to find it in yourself. Just understand that we're all human, we all make mistakes, and don't complicate your life. When you walk into a relationship with that, it's a whole different world. And accept that just as you make mistakes, so does your spouse, so does your husband, so does your wife. And just as you're under pressure, so are they. Instead of releasing your pressure on them, accept that we're all in this together. And when you fight together, you can do so much more. When you fight on your own, in your own life, you're half the person. When you fight with a person with you, there's not two people together, it becomes four. And that's physics. Two people lift a chair, it's the muscle of four. That's a reality. Because when you're together, you can achieve so much more. So if you want to do it for selfish reasons, if you fight for yourself within your relationship, you'll go to another level. And don't let the challenge of the world come home. For many years, I did a lot of business in Africa, and I had a lot of.
I have to stop you before you go to number 2, because you said before something, it's it's in my mind. So I have to say, you said something beautiful at step number 1. You said find the joy, find the happiness in yourself, and don't be dependent on your partner. And I think that's something that alone, that's crazy for people to accept that, because like many times you go into a marriage thinking, okay, I'm depending on my spouse for them to make me happy. And you're saying, no, that's dependent totally on us. So I really appreciate you emphasizing that point. No, go on. I said that's amazing. I was like, wow. Like if someone didn't catch that, just listen to that a few more times, everything will change. But you can continue from here.
So I forgot what I was telling you while I was doing business what I was doing in Africa. But I used to spend a lot of time doing business in Africa. Actually, I don't remember why. And I'm happy you stopped, because I think that point was absolutely critical. There's no question about it. But the truth is, as I said, that out of lives, the most important thing is to find you, to find your purpose, to find your happiness. And you'll find out you're happiest when you have challenge, funny enough. We think that the hard times in our life bring us down. It's the hard times in your life that help you find the new you. Many years ago, I did a half Ironman. So I do running and cycling. I hate swimming. I'm a terrible swimmer. So half Ironman is a 1.9 kilometer swim in the ocean, and the oceans in South Africa are very rough. Then a 91 kilometer ride, and then a 21 kilometer run, all not over 3 days in one sitting. So I was sitting at my shul once, and I always tell the people, dig deep, take on a challenge. And one guy said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll do half Ironman. If you want, you do it also. I had no choice but to do it. But I don't know how to swim. I got into the ocean, and I must have swam 300. The waves were massive. It was a disaster. Within 300 meters, I couldn't move my arms. I was in so much pain. I had to do 1.9 kilometers. I remember swimming, and eventually I did backstroke, and then this stroke, and the way it works, every 2-3 minutes, another group goes behind you. The groups were swimming over me. I promise you I was drowning. And eventually, but I knew I wasn't going to give up. At one point, I started davening. I started praying that a shark will come and bite me, because there's plenty of sharks in South African waters. So if a shark bit me, then that means I didn't give up. It wasn't my fault. Eventually, I got out of the water with 5 minutes to spare. I then rode the ride, and I did the run. And I always say, the Eitan Asher got in the water, and the person who took off his sneakers later that afternoon when he finished are two different people. I've never met that same person again who got in the water. You know why? Because I took myself through a challenge and I overcame it. Your hardships in life are not there to break you. They're there to make you find a new you. You come out a better person. You come out a new person. You can reinvent yourself every day. So your challenge can break you, or it can reinvent you. And if you do come home with that I've got my challenge, you'll be okay. And I was saying about time in Africa, I've just remembered why. So I went through terrible times, and I've traveled most of Africa doing business, but in Africa, they don't pay you well. So I used to come home often, like in terrible pressure and financial pressure. It was quite challenging. I used to drive into my house and sit in my car for 2 minutes and leave my office in the car, and then come home as a husband and a father. Wow. And I didn't always get it right, but I used to, and it's not that the 2 minutes made a difference, but I walked in with my head on top of my heart saying, I can come in with all the anger, pressure, and emotion and take it out of my wife and children, or I can understand I live for my wife and children. My business is a purpose for my wife and children. Wow. Why let that destroy my wife and children? So you just like try intellectually leave it in my car. I don't always get it right, and come in for what I live for, which is my wife and children.
Wow, beautiful. That's so beautiful. Like you just, you finish with that, saying that you actually, the business is for them. Of course, it's also for your, personal growth and all that, but it's mainly for you, for them, for the family. And talking about that, I want to, ask one more question, because I know we're towards the end. Today, many people talk about, investing in ourselves. This whole channel is about investing in ourselves. So, and they might say, well, the marriage might be taking away from me, for my, for my inner self, because if I invest in the marriage, I'm not investing in myself. What do you answer, those people?
So I started off this whole conversation saying, when you get married, the same soul gets connected again under the chuppah. Right. If you prepare to look at your spouse as yourself, you'll invest in it. If you think you are only you, then you're right. There is only, but again, when you go to business world and you sit in a boardroom and someone says something you don't like, you'll kick them out as well. You'll never find a team around you to create total growth. Growth comes in when you understand the value of people around you. The value of the person, your spouse, is that it's not another person anymore. It's you. She is you. He is you. It's the same soul coming back together. And if you see the people, your loved ones, as you are investing in yourself. I invest in my legs when I run. I invest in my arms when I do weights. I invest in my head when I think. That's all me. And if you see your family as you, you're not investing in other people anymore. You're still investing in you. And the problem is we live in a world where it's all about me only. It's my. If you see the loved ones around you as the me, well, then you are investing in you anyway. And if you don't, maybe you are the problem. Maybe you need to understand that maybe I'm too caught in me. And by the time you realize that the value of true happiness and true love with the family around you, it's often too late. And if I really say, like, again, I'm going to keep mentioning it. There is time for breakup. There is, and the Torah has it as a mitzvah. It's a commandment in the Torah. That if there's no happiness in the home, you should get divorced. But that really means that there's no happiness. That means that you've invested and you've truly invested and you're all the way. And I just think we give up too quickly in everything at the moment. We all think we're Elon Musk and Steve Jobs. I came with an idea, I'll be a billionaire and buy a yacht and a plane. Truth be told, that's not how it works. There's the 0.0000001% people become that. We all think we're the minimum. We're all regular people. If you put in the effort, you'll get the reward. If you don't try to complicate your life, life will have less anxiety. If you don't try to control everything, you have less to worry about. If you can live your life that way and understand that you have purpose every day of your life, find out the other stuff becomes a lot easier. And we try to control too much. And when we control too much, we try to own too much. And, you know, there's a funny thing, again, you know, you catch a monkey in the wild. There's a funny concept how you catch a monkey. So you can either shoot it, but it's obviously you want to catch a monkey alive. You make a hole in a tree and you fill the hole with nuts. The monkey puts his hand in the hole and he grabs all the nuts. Now his hand is too big to come out of the hole. He'll never leave go of any of the nuts to take his hand out because he wants everything. And he'll stay there for days until you come back and fetch the monkey. And the truth is we do that often too much as well. Instead of taking a bit at a time and living a life slower and growing, we often get stuck in the tree like the monkey trying to hold on too many things. And if you simplify your being, I'm not saying don't have a drive, don't dream, don't be successful. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying don't make big business and do it all, but just breathe your way through it. And when you appreciate that your wife and your husband is you, not somebody else, you're bettering yourself by having a better relationship with them.
Wow, that's so amazing. Like this whole interview, I was like, wow, there's so much to learn over here. And whoever's watching, really to get the most out of this, I recommend to really take a pen and paper or a tablet, whatever, and think, each person in their life, in their relationship, from what the rabbi said really helped you, and there's so much over there, and implement it into your life. Now, not too much, because then you won't do anything. But what's a small step you could do and take that improvement to make your relationship better. And Rabbi, I really appreciate your time and all the amazing value that you gave over here. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and the privilege, Yari, and keep doing the amazing work that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the video and you got some tools to overcome your challenges and light your path. For us to help other people, please press that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget that the most amazing things in life are the one you take for granted.